If you are watching this video today, it usually means one of three things. You haven't secured an MBBS seat in India yet, or the seat you have been offered is there, but the fees simply too high to manage right now, or you are still waiting hoping that maybe next round something opens up. And in the middle of all these discussions at home, you might have also started exploring MBBS abroad option. But that thought immediately brings more questions than answers. Which universities are actually recognized? Will the education match Indian medical standards? What kind of a clinical exposure will my child really get? And most importantly, can we trust the college? If these are the exact conversations happening in your house right now, then this video is for you. Welcome back to the channel where we simplify medical education decisions and help students and parents make informed, confident choices. And today we are going to talk about JSS Mauritius, not as just another MBBS option, but as a continuation of medical education outside India backed by trusted Indian institution. Before we go deeper, here's exactly what we'll cover today. Who governs JSS Mauritius, eligibility requirements, how the MBBS curriculum is structured, subjects students actually study, teaching hours and clinical exposure, how students are assessed, internship options and future scope, scholarship and financial support. Now that you know what's coming, let's start with the most important question. When the idea of MBBS abroad first comes up at home, the biggest worry is not the country, it's trust. Parents don't ask, is it far? They ask things like, who is actually running this college? Is this a serious medical institution that is recognized by NMC in India? Will the education be on par with India? And after 5 years, where my child really stand if he or she wants to pursue PG in India or abroad? These are the valid questions, and this is exactly where JSS Mauritius stands apart. Because JSS Mauritius is not an independent or loosely affiliated foreign university. It is academically governed by JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Mysuru. The same JSS Mysuru that many families in India already know and trust. An institution that has consistently featured among India's top 50 universities under the NIRF rankings for more than 8 years. An institution that holds a NAAC A+ accreditation, which reflects among academic governance, quality teaching systems and reliable assessment standards. And an institution that is recognized globally for its contribution to health science education. So, when a student studies at JSS Mauritius, they are not stepping into an unknown system. They are entering an academic framework designed, monitored and controlled by JSS Mysuru. The curriculum framework, the academic structure, the assessment approach, all of it follows the same seriousness that JSS Mysuru is known for in India. Which means this is not Indian education being adapted abroad. This is the Indian medical education being delivered overseas with the same intent to train competent, ethical and clinical sound doctors. And once you're clear about the university recognition, the next question naturally becomes, who can actually apply and what are the eligibility requirements? To apply for the MBBS program at JSS Mauritius, student must have completed class 12 with physics, chemistry and biology. There are academic eligibility criteria that needs to be met, and this is not an open entry system. And for Indian students, NEET qualification is compulsory. That's important to understand because it tells you one thing very clearly. This is not a shortcut route to medicine. JSS Mauritius follows a regulated admission process aligned with Indian medical expectations and is meant for students who are genuinely committed to becoming doctors. So if a student is eligible here, they are eligible because they have met real academic standards, not because seats are being filled casually. Now, once eligibility is sorted, the next question is, what exactly will you be studying for next 5 years? And that's where the MBBS curriculum structure really matters. At JSS Mauritius, the MBBS program is built on competency-based medical education. At the same framework as followed by JSS Mysuru and aligned with Indian medical education standards. That means the focus is not just on theory or exams. The focus is on developing real clinical competence step by step. The program runs in full-time face-to-face mode, not hybrid, not online, with structured classroom teaching, labs and hospital exposure. It is designed as a minimum 5-year program followed by a rotating internship with flexibility up to 8 years if required, and includes over 6,300 teaching and clinical contact hours spread across the course. That's important because those hours represent actual learning time, not just calendar years. The curriculum is organized across multiple semesters, allowing students to progress steadily from basic sciences to full clinical responsibility without being rushed or overloaded. You can see the full list of subjects here. These cover everything students are expected to study in an Indian MBBS program, from foundational sciences to paraclinical subjects to full clinical disciplines and allied specialties. The key difference is how the subjects are taught. Students don't study theory in isolation for years and then suddenly enter hospitals. From early on, learning is integrated. Classroom concepts are constantly linked to clinical context, communication, and patient care, which leads to the next question every student or parent would be asking. But when does real hospital exposure actually begin and how serious is it? And that's exactly what we'll talk about next. One of the biggest fears students or parents have with MBBS abroad is this: will you be evaluated properly or will you be just pushed through the system? At JSS Mauritius, assessment is not something that happens only at the end of the year. It happens through the journey. Students are evaluated continuously, not just on what they remember, but on how they apply what they learn. Yes, there are professional exams and internal assessments like in India, but alongside, there is a strong focus on practical and clinical evaluation. Attendance is taken seriously with the mandatory minimum of 80% because medicine cannot be learned without being present in class, in labs, and in hospitals. As students move into clinical learning and internship-oriented training, assessment goes beyond written exams. They are evaluated on things that actually matter in real medical practice: how they approach a patient, how they manage a case, how they make clinical decisions, how they behave professionally, and how well they work as a part of healthcare team. Each of these areas is scored in a structured manner, not randomly. So progression is not automatic. Students move forward only when they demonstrate competence, responsibility, and readiness. In simple terms, the system is designed to make sure students don't just graduate. They graduate safe, confident, and accountable. And once academics and assessments are done, the next question naturally comes up: what about internship and where will you complete it? That's exactly what we'll talk about next. After completing 5 academic years, student must complete a compulsory rotating internship. There is no skipping this step. There is no shortcut here. Just like in India, internship is non-negotiable part of becoming a doctor. During this period, students rotate across departments, handle real clinical responsibilities, and are assessed on casework and clinical reasoning, professional conduct, teamwork with doctors, nurse, and paramedical staff, responsibility and consistency in patient care. This ensures that students don't just graduate with a degree, they graduate with hands-on clinical competence. At JSS Mauritius, students who complete 18 months of internship in Mauritius and successfully clear the exit examination also become eligible to apply for license to practice in Mauritius, subject to local regulatory requirements. This opens up an additional clinical pathway for graduates who wish to gain international work experience after MBBS. Graduates from JSS Mauritius can move into multiple career pathways depending on their goals and licensing plans. They can pursue clinical practice in India or abroad after clearing the relevant licensing exams. They can move into research or academic roles. They can explore opportunities in healthcare consulting, medical writing, or public health linked careers. Throughout the program, students receive structured mentorship and career guidance, not just for exams but for long-term planning. There is also ongoing skill development support, helping students build confidence behind the classroom, and for families concerned about affordability. Scholarship support is available for eligible students, which helps ease the financial load over the course duration. So this isn't just about finishing MBBS. It's about making sure students are clinically trained, guided, and supported until they are ready for next step. But what is the learning outcome you can expect at the end of graduation? And that's exactly we'll look at next. By now, we have spoke about governance, curriculum, assessments, and internship. But for most of parents and students, the real clarity comes from one simple thought. After 5 years, what will you be actually capable of doing? Because an MBBS degree is not about marks or certificates. It's about outcomes, and this is where the learning outcomes at JSS Mauritius truly matter. By graduation, students are trained to function as first contact doctors, not just theory, heavy graduates. They are expected to confidently diagnose and manage common medical conditions both at individual and community level. That includes taking structured patient history, performing relevant physical examinations, ordering and interpreting investigations, making sound clinical decisions. Not guessing, not memorizing, but thinking clinically. Students are trained across the full spectrum of care: preventive, promotive, curative, rehabilitative, and palliative. So they don't just learn how to treat illness. They learn why diseases occur, how to prevent them, and how to manage patients over time. Ethics and professionalism are built into the program as outcomes, not afterthoughts. Graduates are trained to follow medical ethics, respect patient confidently, communicate with empathy, work responsibly with healthcare teams, because medicine is never practiced in isolation. Clinical reasoning is another core focus. Students learn to analyze patient problems from differential diagnosis, select appropriate investigations, plan evidence-based, cost-effective treatment. They are trained to reason like doctors, not follow instructions blindly. Communication skills are strengthened continuously. Graduates learn how to communicate clearly with patients, families, colleagues, and wider community, including counseling and difficult conversations. There is also a strong foundation in scientific thinking and research awareness. Students learn to interpret medical data, understand clinical research, and apply evidence to real-world care, preparing them for postgraduate training and lifelong learning. They are exposed to public health, healthcare systems, and policy, enabling them to understand medicine beyond hospital walls. And running through the entire program is one consistent outcome: the ability to keep learning, adapting, and improving. Because medicine evolves and good doctors evolve with it. So when you look at the learning outcomes at JSS Mauritius, you are not just looking at what you will be studying. You are looking at what kind of a doctors you are trained to become. So let's address the final, most practical question every family has. After MBBS, what's next? If a student completes their MBBS at JSS Mauritius and wants to practice in India, the pathway is straightforward and well defined. They are required to complete a 1-year compulsory internship in India as per Indian regulations, and they must clear FMGE exam in India. If the student wants to pursue postgraduate studies in India, they can appear for NEET PG just like any other MBBS graduate. The pathway is transparent, regulated, and aligned with Indian medical norms. Which brings us back to the bigger picture. JSS Mauritius is not positioned as a backup or compromise. It's a structured MBBS program governed by JSS Mysuru, built on Indian academic standards, competency-based training, and clear clinical outcomes. For students who didn't secure government seat, for families who don't have the budget for private college fees, and for those who don't want to take drop year and are exploring MBBS abroad options but want credibility, structure, and long-term clarity, JSS Mauritius stands out as a reliable, academically sound option. And if you are watching this now, timing matters. This February intake for JSS Mauritius admissions is currently open, and the last date to apply is February 15th. So if you want clarity on eligibility, admissions, fees, or exact next steps, comment JSS below and our experts will guide you through the process. And before you go, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming videos on MBBS admissions, counseling updates, and global medical pathways. Thanks for watching, and all the best for your medical journey ahead.